America's largest private employer vows to move towards more automation. What does this mean for America and jobs? This is around the blockchain. How's everybody doing? We're going to talk a little Bitcoin. We're going to talk about Ryan Selkis. And of course, we're talking about Walmart and their automation invasion. Make sure you hit that like button. We got some great guests. I'm going to get right into it, starting with Tim Warren. And Tim, people may not know, but hey, man, we might have a little deep collaboration soon. Are you excited about all that? We've said too much already. Also on the top right, we have Crypto Keeper holding it down. Crypto Keeper, are you having a good Friday?
Yes, it is a good Friday. No pun intended. Yes, sir.
All right. And then we have Piano Matty B. He has padded walls, so he wasn't able to break his Easter eggs. Piano Matty B, how are you feeling this holiday weekend?
I'm great. Just up here in Canada, trying to spread the good word on Bitcoin. I was actually wondering, all these crazy parents who are chopping their children's body parts off, part of this woke insanity, are they Gen Xers? Because I'm a Gen Xer and I've always been proud of my generation, but if they're Gen Xers, I'm going to have to rethink my own generation. How are you, DZ?
I think people should wait till 18 to have a tattoo, and then you can extrapolate from there. All right, and then also we have Drew Wolfer. Drew, how goes it? You believe you come from Presend, correct?
Yep. Presend. We're just launching and, going on tour, having a good time, and, just happy to be on the podcast, man.
Hey, when you go on tour, bring Piano Matty B. Have him play some licks, and maybe we'll get Jason Casper to resurrect his metal career. Big shout out to Presend.io. Make sure you check them guys out. All right, well, let's first talk about Bitcoin, and really not too much movement. A lot of analysts are, looking at the sideways action. I want to pull up the chart right here. On the 7-day, we're looking at, roughly a 1% change. Nothing too drastic. When we click here, you can just kind of see trading along sideways in this channel. When you hit the 1 month, you could see even more of the tail right there. Let's just hit the 90-day just for one time. All right, it doesn't look super drastic, but that 1 month, sure, that first week or two was pretty exciting, and then it has been pretty boring. Piano Matty B, is this a Bollinger Band? Are we starting to tighten into a range? Is that happening yet? Do we need to be even tighter range for it to happen? And what typically happens when an asset just gets flatter and flatter and flatter?
Well, I got a little TA here that we can kind of run through, DZ.
And when I was talking about flatter, I wasn't talking about the body part thing you were saying. All right, moving on.
Right. Well, over on the 4-hour chart, you can see that we're still mincing words here in our channel of monotony. We're currently getting some support from the 23.6% fib level, but if she breaks, I'd be expecting a retest of channel support down at 26.6-ish, and I wouldn't bring out my bull costume out of the closet until we're over our resistance at 28.7. Now, over on the daily, we are white-knuckling the 20 moving average. And if she breaks...
Is that me?
There's a pretty big low-volume pocket straight down to 25.5. Now, that's a significant price point, DZ, because over on the weekly, that would take us down to the muchos important level, the 200 moving average, which in my books is the true barometer of bullish health. Above it, we're doing okay. Below it, well... let's not talk about what's below the 200 moving average, Izzy.
All right. Great graphics there. I have one request. Next time, could we get the Ally McBeal dancing baby? I think it would be a perfect fit. And then you could call back to your earlier thing that you led with in the show.
That's why I love this show.
Great stuff. Hey, we get freedom, unlike Canadian truckers. All right. Extra point just for the fun time we just had. All right. Well, Tim, you do a little TA yourself. We have Bitcoin getting really flat. I think Matty did a pretty good job breaking it down, but I've been expecting more action from Ethereum. We have a huge upgrade on April 12th. However, they're just not really moving much as well. I mean, it's a little bit more action than Bitcoin, but when you hit that 30-day, not much of action. So what are the TA telling you when it comes to Ethereum? Are we going to break out of this channel? Is it a buy the rumor, sell the news? Are we going to dump on the 12th?
Well, first of all, I do have to say, Matty B might have just done the most entertaining TA we've ever seen.
Yes.
He definitely needs to create a course. The rest of us have been doing it wrong the whole time. That is the new way we got to start doing it from here on out. So I'm not even going to try to match that and show the charts. Ultimately, DZ, we got a lot of sideways action. It's been a boring week. The good news of that, though, the good side of that is that this is not moving down at the moment. I think we're waiting on another catalyst. In fact, a bunch of FUD has been thrown at crypto recently. In case any of you guys ever check out the news channels and find out what's happening in crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum are not necessarily being seen in great light by the mainstream media. They don't want to be seen in great light. And yet the price just continues to hover sideways. These sideways accumulation channels, they can be times where you top out and you go to the downside. But what we're seeing right now, especially with the low volume, I'm actually going to be very surprised if we move to the downside. I think this is consolidation before a continuation. This goes with what I've been talking about for a couple of weeks over on Investing Bros. Been able to say it on a couple different channels too. I think that we're seeing it's a little different. I think we're delaying a little longer, but still a similar market to what we saw back in 2019, where we had a premature bull rally before the actual bull market started. Anyone who's wondering what I'm talking about, go back to 2019. Start in February in 2019 and just watch the Bitcoin chart. Go and look at the Ethereum chart. Go look at other altcoins as well. We saw a lot of coins go up, but Bitcoin went up the highest. It had the most amount of money coming into it. Obviously, the Bitcoin dominance just skyrocketed. And that was not the bull market. I think we're seeing something similar happen. I think that we're going to see both Ethereum and Bitcoin go potentially as high as 100% up from where we're currently sitting, maybe a little less than that, before we get some sort of more FUD in the market. A lot of people take profit around that $48,000, $50,000 level for Bitcoin, somewhere between $3,000, $3,600 for Ethereum. We dip back down about 50%. I know there's a lot of technical analysts calling for a 50% dip, and I agree with them. I just think we're about to see potentially almost an 100% rally before that happens. And then that'll set up a real bull market starting later this year or early 2024, where we'll see the altcoins outpace Bitcoin. The Bitcoin dominance will once again start falling, heading below 50% again, because I think we're getting over that. And that's what I'm anticipating right now. But on the shorter timeline, I look at this lull as a positive thing, because in reality, when you look at the headlines right now, you would expect Bitcoin should be dropping, and yet it's hovering and staying above 27,000. That's a bullish sign right there, DZ.
All right, well, let's just show a little bit of those, of that period in 2019. Here you can see, from about 7,000, close to 100% gain. This is May, and then from May into July, all the way up to 12. So close to 100% gain. And then from 12, we went all the way back down to, testing 5. So then, more than a 50% drop. I think it even touched, around 4 on some exchanges.
Okay. What I would say, DZ, just in case people are looking at that timeline, if you go back to before the pandemic was a black swan event. You can't really take that and say, oh, this was predictable. What you look at before the pandemic happened, though, is it rallied up, like you said, had a massive rally, Bitcoin dominance climbed, and then it fell 54%, maybe 52%, came back down to a significant former level of resistance before the bottom broke out. Guess what we just did here a little bit ago, around 25.2. 25.2 was the last level of resistance before we made that plunge down to what is currently the bottom of this bear market. If we rally up to 50,000 and then take that 50% dip, just like in 2019, that puts us right back at 25.2. That looks similar, identical to what we had back in 2019.
Yeah, the good traders I'm looking at, they're essentially saying it's something similar, 42, 44 to 50, and then maybe 50% correction there. Well, Crypto Keeper, Tim brought up a point. There's going to be a period where it's the altcoins' time to shine. Besides Ethereum, is there any alt that you kind of have your eye on? Maybe a top 10, top 20, a little bit safer play that you can maybe set it and forget it and ride it for a year or two.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks again for having me on the show. As always, excited to be here. Shout out to Piano Matty B. That was super dope, dude, by the way.
Yeah,
that
One more point.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Give him all the points.
All the points. So as it relates to alts, one of the things that we're able to do in the crypto markets is kind of predict you see Bitcoin move, you see Ethereum trail, and then the rest of the alts kind of follow. So it's been pretty predictable. Okay. So when we follow whatever happens in these markets, if we say, hey, history is going to repeat itself or at least rhyme, we at least have something to go off of. I believe that this next bull market, I've talked about this a lot, is going to be a utilitarian bull market. I think that the assets that are going to do very well are going to be assets that are actually changing the game as it relates to crypto, making crypto relevant in just a standard business practice just for real life. And so some of them, DZ, I'll throw one of them out there that you're going to love to hear, Chainlink. Chainlink's and Oracle, it's taking information off chain that we need to get on chain. And okay, hey, we're here. That actually makes sense. Another one will be the graph. The graph is basically a search query. It is a Google of blockchain. That's one that I have my eyes on a lot right now. I actually held quite a bit of it, took some profits. I'm not in it right now, but I want to get back into that. But again, it comes down to the same thing for me. I think we're still going to have the crypto casino. We're still going to have the meme coins that are going to pump, and it's not going to make any freaking sense because a tweet got put out by somebody or something happened where, something caught fire. But the reality is I believe that it's all going to be utility. So my thought process is, none of this being financial advice, I'm looking at assets that are actually doing something for real. And I'm hoping, because I think it's for the betterment of the crypto space, I'm hoping that that's the way that it goes. Because if we start actually solving real world problems in the crypto space, now all of a sudden people can point at it and say, hey, you know what? That was a good thing. Blockchain actually solved a real problem here. Instead of everyone trying to point at blockchain and say how energy intensive it is and all of the chaos and FUD that they throw at it, that scammers and people that are just trying to take your money are using it. No, this can actually solve real world problems. So I'm looking for assets that are going to be doing just that.
All right. And I definitely agree with your choice of Chainlink, and interesting point about the graph. The graph being called the Google is a much maligned term, but it isn't the search function of the graph. It's the indexing of the graph. Google also indexes huge swaths of the internet. So not to just get those, that saying confused, because it's a hot. It used to be, at least January, February 21. It was a hot topic whether or not we call it the Google of blockchains. Much like Ada Gang. Is it Cardano community or Ada Gang? You got to be careful who you say that to. All right. Well, Drew, we're bringing up, history often repeats. Sometimes it rhymes. I want to show you, the accumulation range of 2019. Back here, we had a significant amount of time. This is zoomed out, so, this is going on for months. However, our accumulation range, we don't know if this is the exact bottom, but if this is the bottom, the accumulation range was much shorter. I think it was Gainsey brought this to my attention, a pretty good macro trader. So many people expected a long, nice accumulation zone. What are your thoughts about that accumulation zone being much shorter? Do you think a lot of projects have found their bottom and have started to bounce?
I'm going to be honest with you, man. And I've brought this up a couple times in other places, and it's a very hot topic that people don't like me talking
We're
about.
going lower.
Yeah. So that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that that's a guarantee, but what I will point out is that we haven't seen a market like this. Okay. So Bitcoin's been around for almost 14 years, right? It came around in 2009, right after the 2008 housing crisis. We've been in a global bull run for 13 to 14 years. So crypto has had all of these, 3 or 4 little bear markets. And I don't mean to say little, but they were bear markets inside of a global bull run. So that's one of the major issues that I'm seeing right now, that it's hard to go back and check historical data whenever the market, the global market at the very least, is inherently different than it used to be whenever we had these previous bear cycles. So, it seems that in crypto, things get almost like accelerated, like these, every time something comes around, it happens faster every single time because adoption is starting to come at a higher rate, I think. But understanding that if we really want to get to those, $100,000, $250,000 Bitcoins in the multi-trillion-dollar markets, that we have to bring that institutional money in. And during a market that we have right now, where there's a war happening and then there's an economic war happening, right, on the US dollar, does it make as much sense? I don't know. But I know a lot of people are I'm going to almost attribute it to a lot of people are thinking, okay, well, I don't want to be in the US dollar. Where do I want to be? Well, I'm not going to buy real estate because I don't have, interest rates are high. And I also don't want to buy physical gold and silver right now because I just don't want to deal with that. It's not as liquid, right? So I'm going to throw it into some crypto. But then where are they going to take their money out? If they need it quick, they're going to take it out of their discretionary funds in their risk portfolio, which is what a lot of people think crypto is. And they're not going to be selling their properties. They're not going to be selling their physical gold and silver. And they're definitely not going to be taking loans out from the bank. So a lot of these people are going to be taking this out. So that consolidation range being a little bit shorter than the other one, I think has a lot to do with the overall trend of the global market, at least in my opinion.
No, that's a very fair point. We've never had a Bitcoin bull run facing a quantitative tightening or nor a giant macro bear. Now, I'm not for sure. I want to just one quick follow up, Drew. By no means am I guaranteeing 16 was the bottom. I went from didn't think so, about 45% probability. Then I went to about 50-50. I would say today, Drew, I'm at a 65% probability that 60 or 16K was the bottom. What probability would you attribute to 16K not being the bottom?
So, okay, I think this is another kind of like fallacy that we see inside of crypto too. And I'm not saying that what you're saying is a fallacy. I'm saying this is like a global crypto market belief fallacy, right? Is that everybody always says, whenever we're going up, at least, right, that we're taking a leg down, like we'll take a dump really quick. And people will be like, oh, that's what healthy markets do. We're just legging down to go back up, right? But nobody says that on the way down. They're not like, it kind of goes back to what Tim was saying, where he's like, hey, this could be a fake pump, and he thinks it may be potentially a continuation, but it could be the opposite, where we're still in a downtrending market and we just kind of retested those previous resistances to go back down again. So we don't only just leg down on the way up to go back up again, but we also leg up on the way down to go back down again. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's kind of where that's kind of my whole point.
All right. Well, I got to push back just a little bit. I need more from you, Drew, here. Are you close to 50-50? Or are you close to 90% sure we're going below 16? I'm asking you to judge your own eternal gut. I'm not asking, any kind of... the 65% isn't my macro prediction. It's me judging my gut instincts here.
Boom. Yeah. So my gut has been telling me 10K's in play. I've been saying it since the end of 2021. I'll keep saying it until we break those previous Luna levels, man. Because 10 to 15K, man, that's a key range. I'm not saying it's going to go there, but what I am saying is that until we break those levels where we were sitting at before that Luna absolute demolished, just the whole market happened, it's hard, especially in this market that we're in now, because it's changed a lot since that happened, right? We were still doing okay back then, but now it's, the global
I will say, if 10K is in play, I don't think it happens after 50. I think it'd be a sell in May, walk away. And I wanted to rhyme a whole bunch just to feel happy. And but moving on, let's stick on this real quick. Piano Matty B, what are your thought processes on going below 16K? Are you putting it a high likelihood, low likelihood, or semi close to me at a coin toss here?
Yeah, you know what? I don't really think about it all that often because I'm a long-term investor in Bitcoin, and it's going to go up and it's going to go down, and I care not for bulls nor bears. The cycle is the cycle. I'm in it. I'm in it for the revolution. I look at it like a bank. I just put all my extra discretionary income into Bitcoin. That's the only place it's safe. And anytime I deviate from that, even with the USDC, I had to move it when it was my own fault. Why do I have it in USDC? It should be in Bitcoin, right? But that was the sick degen was like, well, I'll keep it on the side for one of these drops, right? So every time I start thinking about this potential drop, that's when I get a little unhealthy in my investment mind. So I just, straight and narrow, put it in 7 years, wait for the cycle, and then see where your life is. Do you need that money back? If not, then keep it in, because I'm in it for basically my son. This is the revolution. This is a generation.
When you trade, going off of those, those weekly candles and everything, you put your entire Bitcoin stack on the line, right, Matty?
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
100x leverage too.
Watch out with that strategy, folks. What can go wrong? I know CZ and other exchange operators would like that. All right. Well, Crypto Keeper, ask you the same question. What are your thoughts on, going below 16K?
So I'm going to go 60-40 the other way, DZ, and mine's really simple. I always talk about global macro events that are happening. And I'm in the same camp as Drew. We've never seen Bitcoin in this environment. And now add on to it all of the chaos that is ensuing in the world, all of the pushback against the US dollar. We have stuff going on with oil. We obviously have stuff going on with Russia, Iran. I mean, just literally all across the world. And so I think that we have a really good setup for combine. They've already thrown the kitchen sink, everything and the kitchen sink at Bitcoin, but not actually thrown the kitchen sink. And I think the kitchen sink could be a 3-letter word, starts with W, has an AR after it. And ultimately, I think that is going to be possibly what's going to throw us, albeit briefly, but it's going to ensue chaos, and we're going to see some big moves to the downside. And I also think it's going to shake out a lot of the lot of the weak hands as we talk about in the crypto space. But yeah, I do think we're going to see lower numbers for sure.
All right. Well, we just got our prediction numbers in on Bitcoin's market cap 2025, roughly 21. Bitcoin hit 1 trillion, 5 trillion. About half of everybody responding said 5 trillion. And then we got 10 trillion and 1 trillion, each coming in equally, about roughly a quarter. And then a small segment said our next bull run will be half the volume or half the value of the previous one. So most everybody saying a 5x is in play. Tim Warren, we'll wrap it up with you on the Bitcoin 16K debate. What are your thoughts? You know, I mean, are you looking at monthly candles when you're thinking about this? Or are you thinking more about Zelensky's photo ops?
Well, I'm gonna give a little bit of pushback here to the concept that because we're about to move into maybe a global collapse, like if you're looking at the S&P 500, Nasdaq, you know, historically we see those pull back 50 to over 50% during these dips. Right now we're only down 20 something percent, 28, 27 is the lowest we've gotten. So if you're going to make the argument that Bitcoin has never seen one of those things happen, so therefore it has to go down, well, then there has to also be the counter argument. Well, Bitcoin's never seen it happen, so why does it have to go down? You know, I don't think that you can just say with any certainty, we've never seen this before, so it has to go one way. If you're going to say that, you got to keep yourself consistent and say there's a real possibility that actually Bitcoin's never seen this before and we're going to see it go up. When all of this chaos happening, value has to go somewhere. It's not like atoms. It's not like science. Obviously, value can be killed. We see that happen all the time where value gets destroyed. But value will flow. And with the chaos happening in the dollar right now, with the chaos happening worldwide, where are people going to move their value to? I think that Bitcoin is kind of gearing up and is rearing its head as a very, very attractive place. What I actually see happening, and I said this before, I think the bottom's in. I'm not saying 100%. I think I would probably sit in the 70-30 boat saying the bottom is in. I think we're going to see a massive pump on Bitcoin. When I say massive, I mean 100%. We're going to see a Bill Noble was on our show, called it the Everything's All Right campaign, where they're going to try to convince us the dollar's fine, the bank is fine. People then who went from fear out of the dollar into Bitcoin and Ethereum and other coins, maybe they're going to say, oh, okay, let's move our money back into banks. There's going to be a big crash. All right. Bitcoin comes back down, loses 50% of its value, and then people will be like, I made the mistake. We're going back into Bitcoin. When else in our history of Bitcoin, again, short time, have we seen massive inflow into crypto at the bottom of bear prices? We always see this type of inflow at the top, but yet this flow is coming in around $25,000. That is telling me that Bitcoin, when it was created to fix inflation and to solve this monetary problem, might slowly but surely be actually accomplishing what it was made to do. So I'm not ready to just say, because we've never seen it before, we have to go down. I'm saying we've never seen this before. It very well might just go up.
All right. Great breakdown there. All right. Well, let's go around the blockchain with our next topic here. I'm going to briefly show Ryan Selkis's tweet. If you don't know who Ryan Selkis is, he is known as 2-Bit Idiot. He is the founder and CEO, I believe, of Masari. I think it's Crypto Capital Venture. I don't know. They have an investment arm. They have portfolio tracking. They have research reports that they put out annually. And just a few days ago, he somewhat cheekily tweeted out that he might be running for Senate. And then this tweet today seems to further, be a little bit extra evidence, pointing that direction. Every major crypto company in the U.S. should be ready to fund the upcoming campaign, assuming it's his Senate campaign. It's going to be an all-out war the next 18 months. Founders, DM me for details. We're just going to go around the blockchain. Tim Warren, is a message like that enough for you to just say, I'm YOLOing in this candidate? I'm assuming we're in agreement on enough topics. Do you need to know anything else?
I was talking about not this quote, because this is the first time I saw it this afternoon. I was talking about this topic earlier on our show today, this morning, and how as a voter, one of the things I love about crypto right now is that it is a bipartisan thing. I love that crypto, Bitcoin, it's not necessarily a Republican thing. It's not a Democrat thing. It is a bipartisan thing. Now, it seems like currently Democrats are kind of flowing towards anti, especially what I call my Auntie Beth, even though there's no relationship right there, Senator Elizabeth Warren. She is literally anti-crypto. That is not a figure of speech. That's her campaign. It was good to see Robert F. Kennedy, who's going to be running against Biden for this next Democratic nomination, call out the evilness of CBDCs, kind of stand on, hey, we don't want those types of things happening. Because when you're voting, I hate being a voter that votes on one policy. I believe that you should look at people as a whole and you should decide, hey, do I like this candidate better than this candidate? But unfortunately, for this next cycle, especially if you're heavily involved in crypto, if you're looking at candidates are saying one of them is pro-crypto and one of them is anti-crypto, you might just end up voting for that one candidate, despite the fact that you disagree with them on most of their other platforms. I am a big fan of what was said in this tweet because I do think that we should be throwing as much support behind candidates who support crypto, whether they be Republican or Democrat, so that voters can make safe choices for what they really believe in, what their platform, what they support, and not have to worry about, well, if I vote for this person, even though I agree with everything they say, they're going to be anti-crypto and I'm going to lose all my money. I think it is better to have any candidate from both parties be pro-crypto. So absolutely, I love this tweet. I agree with
that would be.
100%.
We do have that possibility with if it was a Kennedy versus DeSantis. And everybody, make sure you subscribe and smash that like button. I don't know if we've hit 200 just yet. Have we hit 200, guys? We got to pump those. Those are rookie numbers. We got to pump those things. Crypto Keeper. I'm glad Tim said one policy here. A lot of times there's lightning rod issues, and voters will just vote off of one issue. I just wrote some down: Social Security. Let's see, taxes, economy, war, women's rights, and the like. Does crypto have a chance to be a potential lightning rod issue like those other ones I previously stated?
Oh man, it would be great for our bags if it was. That's for sure. I don't know that we're there yet, but I do know in the politics world, it's intended to be like that. They want to show you and highlight just one thing and get you so focused in on that one thing that, like Tim was saying, they're not seeing all of the other chaos that's ensuing around them. And so I think it's scary to me. I think it's a great thing. I don't care whether he's a Democrat or a Republican. I do care about all of the other things that they stand for. And I do want to know, what other things are you planning on doing? What's your game plan? Because at the end of the day, as a small business owner, I've seen how much chaos this current administration has put on my personal life. And I didn't realize that growing up, how much politics really mattered. I used to get irritated with my dad for talking about politics. I'm like, this is so freaking boring. What does it matter? Da, 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 da. And fast forward, and I realized, wow, everything that's happening right now is affecting my everyday life. Now, throw crypto into that. Now, I've got a nice portfolio of crypto. It's been really good to my family over the years. For sure, I want to see somebody that's pro-crypto. For sure, I want to see that advance. But I do think that it needs to be, a part of a larger scale change that's happening in our country. We have so much wrong with our country. And I would sacrifice the crypto side of things. And listen, money's important to me, right? I would sacrifice the crypto side of things to actually work on some real issues, like something like Piano Matty B was talking about and some of the other things that are going on in our world. Can it be a lightning rod issue? Yes. Do I think we're there yet right now? No. Do I hope that soon crypto is at the top of everyone's charts for what they're looking at with people? For sure. That's what we want to see. It's going to help advance and further the crypto space for sure.
All right. Piano Matty B. First, one quick question. Yes or no? Piano Matty B. Would you vote for Ryan?
For Ryan?
Yes. Ryan Selkis.
Who's Ryan? Oh, you know what? In this illusion of democracy, there's only one vote, and that's what you buy, right? That's why Bitcoin is ultimately the truth.
Well, I was just trying to set you up for a joke. I was hoping you would say yes, and I would say, well, you're under arrest. You are a Canadian citizen. He's a U.S. politician. More of a real question.
I should have saw it coming. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You know what? You have such real issues where you live, so maybe that's why I'll ask you this question instead. What is the first thing he should do if elected? If he was your province representative, I don't know what you guys have north of the border there, but if he was your representative at a major level, what's the first thing you would like him to do for your district?
Well, I'm a big fan of killing the banks. I think that's the first thing anyone in power has to do. Unfortunately, we kind of have a backdoor of the demolition of the banks, and it's going to happen with the small banks. Then it's going to grow to the large banks. So that's going to happen, but not in the healthy way that I want it to happen. I want people to opt out of this legacy dinosaur industry and get into Bitcoin, preserve their wealth. Until you do that, you're going to be a subject to all democracy, whatever the mob thinks, you're going to be subject to it, whether you like it or not. Let's say this guy gets in, he's crypto friendly, and 51% of the people like it. Well, there's still 49% of the people against it. So you still have that strife. And that strife is basically what's been killing the past couple of years for when I look at America, it's like, Jesus, what's going on down there? And I mean, don't get me wrong, Canada is as bad, if not worse. But we have fallen so far, so fast that I just don't think that there's any way to get back until it's completely uh, demolished to the ground and built up again. And DZ, I don't know how that happens, but something's going to give. And when it gives, it's going to give fast and it's going to break fast. And I think we're right on the cusp of that happening. So I'll keep this short. I know I'm going on too long, but my son comes home from school and I ask him what he did and blah, blah, blah. We played this game and I say, well, who won the game? And he'll say, well, no one won. There's no winner or losers. I'm like, listen, his name's Duke. Duke, life is about winners and losers. You either win or you lose. So don't ever listen to that. And I think what we're seeing now is an army of losers coming together and trying to win. But losers are losers. They're called losers because all they do is lose. And I think right now is we're seeing an epidemic of losing. And when that happens and they all peter out and kind of go away, the strong will come in and make it better for everybody. I know that's long-winded, DZ.
No.
Is that even a question?
No, you know what? It makes me mad at participation trophies. I think that might have been the genesis. It trickled down effect. And, a lot of people don't know what it's like to lose. Losing is good. In a vacuum, bullying can help create people have self-accountability. Obviously, it's not a bad thing if it's affecting mental health or if it's taken too far. But losing can be beneficial if you believe in Mamba mentality. And I certainly do. Well, Drew, he threw out a call to crypto founders saying it's going to be an all-out war. Founders, DM me the details. You are a crypto company founder. What are your thoughts about that? Are you interested in reaching out? Would you try to help out in some way? What are your thoughts of Ryan Selkis, aka 2-Bit Idiot?
I think his name's hilarious. Honestly, that's awesome. So I'm kind of middle of the road on this. Obviously, I see both sides of the coin, right? I see where some people are making points that there's bigger things that are happening in the world potentially right now than just what's going on in crypto. But that doesn't nullify the fact that crypto is important, especially for myself and my family, because, this isn't my side gig. This is my job. This is how I provide for my family. This is how I feed my family, and it just is what it is. So I have 2 businesses inside of crypto. So obviously, Wolfer Finance and Presend, I want crypto to do well, and we do inherently better when crypto is doing well. So, I don't like having any bearish sentiments, and I also don't, want to be one side of the fence or not, particularly in this, because I don't necessarily know exactly what he's talking about with all these other, all of his other issues, right? So we need to make sure that we're making good decisions in terms of, hey, would I vote for this person, or hey, would I not? Would I support this person? Would I not? Because you don't know, they might be anti something else that you're like not anti that, and you're funding that just because you're a crypto business owner. And it could be a very self-fulfilling prophecy from like a selfish perspective. So do I want to see him do well? Absolutely. Do I want to see crypto do well? Absolutely. I don't want to be preying on the downfall of our market, especially for the simple fact that I built my companies in this market. But yeah, it's a hard.
I didn't know I was supposed to deep dive into their policy and see what kind of decisions they would make. I just saw a television debate. One guy was 2 inches taller than the other person, and he had a better haircut. And so I was like, well, I know what I want to vote for. And that was my template, at least. I think it's probably a lot of people's template. All right, well, let's talk about the automation invasion coming from Walmart. I looked up some stats. I was surprised to learn Walmart's still the largest private employer in America. I don't have the most recent data, but I think it's 21, 2.3 million in Walmart. Amazon, 1.3 million. So they've have an additional 1 million Americans employed. And let's just share this this article. They aim for 65% of stores to be automation service by 2026. I don't want to get too much into the weeds here, versus are we all going to lose our job? Is Andrew Yang, was he right all along? Is the stimmy checks just going to be more of just laziness in the future? We could talk about that for another 2 hours. I want to keep this focus on blockchain. So we're going to go around the blockchain and ask everybody the same question. I'm starting with you, Tim. Blockchain technology does have potential to help an automation economy. Is there a blockchain that is poised to be the biggest benefactor here? What is that coin?
Oh, good question. I mean, Matic is definitely off to a nice start for that as well. And
That's a
of
good
course, you
choice.
got to get that to the Ethereum ecosystem. I don't know. I was not prepared for that question. That is
No,
that one
I
caught me
think
off guard for
I
sure.
think Matic probably a really, really good choice. You know, high throughput, low fees, and their biz dev arm is just phenomenal. All right, Crypto Keeper, who is the coin to rule them all in this automation world?
Well, you know, I've been calling her my girlfriend for a long time. ETH, baby, let's get it. But I will tell you, you know, obviously the fee structures need to change, and we need to get faster. So that's why I like Polygon, which is obviously built on Ethereum. But I'm going to tell you who it's not. Okay, who it's not for sure is Solana. Okay, because
it goes down.
flat out. That's who it is not, because it's always down. Yeah.
Okay, Piano Matty B, is there a coin poised to emerge as a winner here?
Well, you know what? I'm not sure, DZ, but I have one thing to add about this with the automation at Walmart. First off, if I'm at Walmart, you know, things aren't going that well for me. But I did have a little bit of an Easter egg to share with everyone. And I hope that automation doesn't kill this, because what I would do is in my trench coat, Groucho Marx glasses, hat, and disguise, I don't want to talk to anyone.
Clothing's underneath the trench coat, folks. Clothing is underneath.
Sometimes optional. I'll grab what I have to get, whatever I have to get at Walmart, and I'll go straight to the automotive section. And there's a lonely old
that's a hack
cashier with dust and everything, and he's just sitting. No one's there, and I'll buy everything there. And he looks at me and he gives me a little nod because he knows that I know. So I don't know if that's the answer, but anyone going to Walmart.
No, that is a great life hack. You could park at the tire center, go in, especially if you know your section is going to be near that. So yeah, I used to do it at the Wilmington Walmart off Market Street. Drew, what coin is poised to emerge? No one said VeChain. I thought VeChain did that. You're muted. VeChain powered the microphone.
Yeah, so dude, my son is actually invested in VeChain. That's kind of funny that you say that. He bought some last Christmas with some of the money that he got for Christmas. So I thought that was hilarious.
We'll pour one out.
I'm actually gonna wrecked. So I would actually have to agree with Polygon Matic. That's what we minted on. That's what we built on for Wolfer Finance. And I'm just Polygon Matic. You know, that's there's not really much more that you need to say about it. You know, that's just how it comes. But I do want to say this. Everybody should probably watch out for the next leg up of rug pulls and scams and ICOs that are going to be coming out. AI coins. So that is going to be a very real thing in our future. And you already see them coming, and everything's supposed to be AI, and it's supposed to be automated, and it's supposed to replace everybody. But, you know, my dev and I were talking about this today because, you know, he built Presend, and he was talking about like how, you know, you have to code things in a certain way. That way other people can pick it up and they can, you know, figure out what is going on in the code, why you coded it that way and stuff like that. And he was like, that's why you can't replace me with automation, because if you go and put that into Chat GPT, if you go and put that into, you know, whatever coding program that just spits out and it's just like, hey, here's some code, but it doesn't tell you how to use it. And, you know, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, there will be a lot of things that get replaced, but some things won't.
Yeah, be careful. You see ICO, IDO, AI, pre-sale. Just be careful. You know, maybe try to sell in that first 2 minute candles if you do get in something like that. But I think that's all we have time for. And Piano Matty B, you took a commanding lead early and you just never looked back. You're like downhill in that wheelchair. You're just off to the races. So Piano Matty B, feel free. Take it away.
Well, you know, I just like to thank DZ for having me. This is one of the greatest shows, I think, on YouTube, because it takes so many people from different aspects of the crypto universe and bring them together. And they all have such unique alpha to give the viewers. I watch the show all the time, but I would like to remind everyone on Fridays and Saturdays, I do a live piano bar from YouTube from 9:30. So come check it out. All the communities there just talking crypto in the comment sections. I play requests when they come up. Thanks again.
It can't get more entertaining than that. If you want to find that out, go down below. Links are in the description. Hopefully we got Crypto Keeper's correct one. I'm saying this out loud so we can help remember, make a note here. Drew, make sure you check out presend.io. It's just a great way to send crypto securely and safely. Piano Matty B, always a great time. Crypto Keeper, thank you. Shout out to DCA, Danger Close Alpha, and Tim Warren, always a great time. Timbo Slice is what we like to call him around here. And Make sure you hit that like button. Until next time, just have a great Easter weekend, everybody.